we take too much time, we do have a bit of sad news on the Indigent Defense Coordinator lost a family member today, so she won't be with us. Maricela lost a family member, so we will. I will present during their section at 11 o'clock. So with that, we have our district clerk, Miss Betty Harridge, with us. If you would come forward.
Thank you, Betty.
Thank you, Betty.
Good morning, everyone. This won't take long, I promise. You'll have time left over, I'm sure. First and foremost, I want to thank each of you for giving us the opportunity to come and speak to you. I'm just going to read this briefly, what I gave to you. I would like I said, I'd like to thank each of you for taking the time to listen to the concerns of each department head, as well as working hard in getting our county debt-free. I have been with the county for 23 years, and I have seen firsthand and know it has been a rough road, so job well done. I think it's funny because when I came here 23 years ago, I started in the district attorney's office, and I remember coming here making $15,000. So it's came a long ways. I am here today to let you know that I am comfortable with the budget that is set for my office. The only request that I have is changing Sherry Foster's title from Chief Deputy Clerk to Office Coordinator. Ms. Foster is responsible for supervising 12 deputy clerks as well as the following. She assists with daily operations by working independently as well as collectively to see that the directives, policies, and procedures are administered and followed as to the district clerk's policy as well as the county's policy. She orders all the supplies needed for the district clerk's office and maintains within set budget. Communicates and coordinates with 3 district court office coordinators, 2 county court office coordinators, as well as each JP office. Coordinate in reference to handling all jury requests by sending out jury summons in a timely manner. Inputs jury payments in Odyssey for 3 district courts, 2 county courts, and JP courts for the treasurer to send payment out. Communicates and coordinates with 3 district office coordinators, 2 county court office coordinators in reference to daily dockets held at each of their court. She handles the 4D billing for the Attorney General cases that is handled through the district clerk's office. And since 2015, when I came into office, the county has received $44,000. Handles the OCA monthly reports as well as submitting to the Texas Office of Court Administration. There's 2 different reports of that has to be done. Handles reports for the Voters Registration Department, providing all required information needed for jury update. Handles monthly transfers from district clerk's accounts into the treasurer's account on a daily basis. Handles all certified payments. Enter in all court-appointed fee vouchers in reference to criminal and family cases and submits to the auditors for payment for defense attorneys. Maintains all CDs on a monthly basis. Once an order is signed by the judge, she works closely with the bank to close out the CD and issue check awarded to the minor. Works closely with district attorney's office. Once a case is indicted, she's responsible for entering every indictment into the system, creating files, issuing warrants, precepts, and setting the financials up in Odyssey on each case. I ask that you please be advised that this list is just some of what Ms. Foster handles. The weekly court docket is viewed on a daily basis to ensure that each of the district courts and the county courts have ample amount of deputy clerks in each court to handle the court load. There are times that we have to send 2 deputy clerks in 1 court, and there are times that all 5 courts are running at once. My request is for the 2020 budget is that Sherry Foster's title change to office coordinator. Right now, her base salary is at $36,847.03. I am requesting her base salary to be $40,038.38 to reflect same as other court office coordinators that handle felony, misdemeanors, civil and family cases. The difference is $3,191.35. In the district clerk's budget, there is a line item. It's 152,00445 for time and a half. And in my 4 years that I have been as district clerk, we have never used this line item. So I'm requesting that the $1,500 go toward the office coordinator position, leaving the difference of $1,691.35. And I'm requesting the county to add $1,691.35 to the office coordinator position. As the district clerk, this is what fits best for my office, and I'm requesting to consider the change for the 2020 budget. Ms. Foster came from the district clerk's office in 2016. She came from Montgomery County District Clerk's office, and she's got 10 years of experience in the district clerk's office, plus the years with my office now, and she came with a wealth of knowledge in Odyssey. So I am requesting, if you will take the $1,500. First, I'd like to switch her title and just have an office coordinator and then deputy clerks. And then, like I said, the $1,500 has never been used. Also, I did notice that there's a non-capital equipment for $900. I'm not quite sure what that is. I've never used that. I was looking at this morning, and that comes to $2,400. So honestly, the county would be $791.35. I know we all think our departments are important, and if we didn't, then we shouldn't be in our position we're in. But, you know, I feel like I need to give credit where credit's due. She's a very hard worker. I feel like she deserves to make the $40,000, and I'm asking that you consider that and change the title and give her that.
Question I have on the use of the overtime is, do you utilize comp time?
If they have to work after 5 o'clock, then they are taking off an hour or two or 30 minutes or whatever. I do not do comp time, open anything.
Okay.
So.
Questions?
Sherry came in 2016?
She came in 2016.
I didn't know that.
She is from here.
Yeah,
Her family
I know
is
Sherry
from
Craig.
here. Sherry Craig.
I know Sherry well. I
And
didn't know she was here.
Yeah, she's here. She's been here since 2016.
Okay.
So.
Any other thoughts, questions?
I'm just trying to reflect back last year when I was sitting in the audience. Did you change her title, or was that in another group to deputy, chief office deputy?
There's always been a chief deputy clerk, and then there's deputy clerks. And I wanted to change it last year, but I mentioned it, but my main goal last year was the criminal e-filing was coming in place in January, and I had to have that extra help. And thank you so much, and that has really paid off.
You won that argument.
Thank you.
You really did, thanks to Anne Marie.
Thank you, Anne Marie.
You remember? That's one of the things I remember most about last year's budget was that we were adamant, how can this be? It was counterintuitive to believe that this new process was causing us more to have to add employee. But that was the norm throughout, so.
Yes, sir. Also, on the back of your letter, I attached kind of what the district clerk's office, I didn't explain everything that we do because, you know, but I do want y'all to know because I know that we do have new commissioners. The district clerk's office hours are Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., and we're open during lunch. So if you have anyone asking or anything, we are open during lunch. If the county is open, the district clerk's office is open. We do not close early on Fridays, nor do we close early prior to holidays. The district clerk's office has processed 569 passports as of May 31st, 2019. We process passports from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. And you can see as of June 26th this year, our office has received 1,474 new cases. And that's for the 173rd, 392nd, and the 3rd District Courts. And I broke it down to, there's 583 civil cases that's been filed, new cases. 429 criminal cases, 462 family cases. As of June 26, 2019, our office has received 237 new cases for county court at law and county court at law 2. 11 were civil cases filed and 226 family cases filed. Our total projected number of cases for 2019 is 3,535 for all 5 courts. And that's through Odyssey is where I get the projection. In 2018, the district clerk's office processed 2,983 for all 5 courts. And the total does not reflect all the filings. That is just new cases that's came through the office. I mean, there's filings all the time that's in reference to cases that's already pending, whether it be motion to revoke or whatever. I mean, there's filings all the time. So thank you so very much for giving me the criminal clerk that you gave me, because that one clerk couldn't have done it.
It's basically due to the state mandates
Yes.
of the e-filing or OCA mandates. All of that, new cases and maintenance submissions, we'll call them, all come in through that portal.
Yes, sir. That's correct.
Any other thoughts, questions?
I always wait my turn.
Just looking through your budget, you're looking for space. 2016, 2017, 2015, your conference and education was average probably 1,400, and it went to 3,500.
The reason is every other year I send deputy clerks that deals with the courts for the OCA. There's a training, or sieges, and they go and they get the training for that. And that's important because that's how we get, grants and all. So we have to keep our numbers up. Diane Russ can testify.
Apologies.
So, I mean, every other year, 1 year, I have to go every year because I have to have so many hours. So, like this year, there's money left over. Now, next year, they will be going to the sieges training. So I'll have to send at least 1 or 2 to come back and train the other ones if there's any changes or anything.
I did, one thing I think the court should be aware of is yesterday it was brought to my attention that through sunset revisions, and now this doesn't affect the sieges portion of it, but OCA was stripped of its oversight of our collection programs, that we've been speaking to the last week. It removed the oversight of OCA on our collection programs from the original act, which was 2008, I think, 2007, something like that. We've used that term a lot in the last week about OCA requirements. I actually was told that yesterday and have started to verify that. So CGIS is the actual numbers on our cases that lead into the OCA reporting. Even though OCA will not have, if this information is true, oversight of it, there's still the CGIS information that must be continued to be collected, cleaned, garnered, because every month we get a CGIS report that comes in that is then dispensed out to the departments for correction of any issues that were involved. Anything else? Oh, you haven't had an opportunity, I'm sorry.
I said I was waiting my turn.
So you have the memo here concerning Ms. Foster. So if we change her title and basically you're requesting an increase in her salary as well,
Yes,
isn't that
sir.
correct?
Yes, sir.
And so you will not have a chief deputy?
I'm good with no chief deputy.
Okay.
I mean,
Will you put that in writing? As long as you're in office, you'll never come back and ask
I will
for a
not
chief
come back and
deputy?
ask. I will not.
Okay.
Between Sherry and myself, we,
So whoever comes after you, we can be prepared for them to come in and say, I don't have a chief deputy.
yes, sir.
Probably, right?
Yes, sir. I mean, I can't speak for anyone else. I'm telling you the need that I need from my office and what fits for my office.
I guess,
And I have made changes since I've came in.
let me ask you a hypothetical question. Changing the title of the individual that functions today as your chief deputy, is there something new this person's going to do?
Her position is, she helps me with administration, part of it. She helps in the courts. You know, like I said, we got 5 different courts that we're working in, and just the administration of it. Like I said, when I came in office, I saw for the first year how it ran, and I've changed it to fit what I feel is, it runs smoothly and it works.
So we couldn't leave it as a chief deputy and give if we decided to, raise to, I mean, that wouldn't be the same thing, leave her as a chief deputy?
It does not matter to me. I just feel like she needs to make what office coordinators make. She deals with every one of them every day.
Office coordinators. You mean court coordinators?
Office court coordinators, yes.
So this is kind of goes back to the Judge McKee's presentation and Judge Perryman's request memorandum. Wow, what a slippery slope.
I'm not speaking for anyone else other than my office.
Oh, I understand.
And I'm just, you know, I feel like she needs to make the 40,000.
Well, I guess it's not the same slope, but it's similar.
You know, I don't know what each of you all do, and I invite you to come, like when we're picking juries, we stay with the jury throughout the day. I invite you to come in the courtrooms. You know, a lot of theory, people think we just sit and write on a docket sheet, or we're up busy, like swearing defendants in. There's a lot that goes into it. And in one court, we fingerprint the defendant. You know, different judges want different things, and we have to accommodate them, so.
And she's been with you for?
She came in July 2016.
And she's currently making, what, 37?
No, sir, she is at, her base pay is 36, I'm sorry.
36.
36,847.03.
Because she doesn't get longevity yet.
She does not.
This year, she would be gaining that this year.
So I'm assuming that's where you're getting the 37. So if we go to steps, she would be at 37.
Okay. Of course, historically, you understand and know, and it's just for the court, the designation of chief deputy or chief office deputy has tied tax, county clerk's office, and district clerk together. And that's the assumption for many years is similar duties by those, so
But
that,
her duties compared to the county clerk's duties are probably, I don't know the functions. I can't speak for her. But I
Right.
can tell you from my office what we do.
Understood.
So,
okay. And it is.
and I'm not saying we're any better. I'm not. I'm
Right.
just saying I know what I see. You know, I work it every day with her and I see it. And I just feel like, I mean, we're dealing with all the different courts. So,
Okay.
I agree with the comment you just made, Judge. I guess I'd rather think harder on the salary issue that you're presenting rather than a title change, which would lead us in future years to the creation of a new chief deputy position. Probably that wouldn't happen. The assistant chief deputy would be dropped and that person would move up, and then we would be requesting a new assistant chief deputy position. And then the tax office would follow suit, and then of course, sorry Mary Margaret, your office would follow suit as well. And so we now have office coordinators, and like next thing the fire marshal will say, every organization has a office coordinator, and I'm just using you as an example, you're a vehicle for my discussion. He's got people in there, and well, he needs an office coordinator. Everyone's going to need an executive assistant. At least when the title says chief deputy, that is the person that, when you're not in the office, runs everything. Office coordinator wouldn't have the same responsibility under a new elected district clerk, because the term office coordinator becomes an executive assistant in civilian terms, and that worries me.
okay. And I'm
So
good.
I would
I'm
be
good with you
far
leaving.
more comfortable addressing your salary concern rather than a title shift, because that puts us in a, as Commissioner Thomas says, he always worries about future courts. And in this case, I worry about future courts making title changes in these offices to an administrative function. But it was a good memo. I appreciate the numbers on the last page.
You're welcome. And I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to come and speak. You know, I feel like I need to, if you don't know, you're not going to give her a raise. I'm coming to tell you that I feel like she does a wonderful job, and I feel like that she deserves the $40,000. So, and it's honestly, you know, I'm willing to give up the time and a half. I'm willing to give up the non-capital equipment. You know, I can't speak for any other office, but I'm telling you what my office does, and thank you.
Thank you
Thank you,
very
Betty.
much.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Very good, Betty.
Thank you.
Very good job.
Okay. There we go. Sheriff, you're next, sir.
Good morning. I do not have a lot. I just kind of y'all want to start with 560? Then there's just a couple of things in 560 and just a couple of things in 568 that I want to point out.
Bear with us, Sheriff, as we,
We're finding it.
I understand.
1450?
1450.
Starting at,
Got it.
Okay.
1435 is what I've got. Oh, okay. Please continue, sir.
All right, on 560, if you go down, I've requested more money in certificate pay. That's just following the certificate pay policy. So that 35,000 and 560 would be a good number. The next change in office supplies, I'm actually requesting 21,000, and that's just basically based upon we've been whittling that number down, and I think we whittled it a little too much. This is based on what we've actually spent in the last couple of years. I'm requesting 21,000 there. And then the vehicle line item, requesting a $10,000 increase there. I would still like to purchase Tahoes, but it all depends on prices. So we'll have to see what the prices come in on January 1st. But that's pretty much all I've got in 560.
What was the first one before office supply?
Certificate pay.
And that's an increase due to
To county policy?
county policy.
Yes, sir.
You've had either higher ends or new certificates obtained?
They are actually going to school and getting their certificates. You know,
Great.
they've gotten some incentive, and they would like the increase in pay, and they're going to receive the training.
Question?
The vehicle, the Tahoes, you said you may go to another,
Well, it just depends on pricing. You know, last year, the Tahoes, or this year, I'm sorry, the Tahoes cost 32,000 apiece, and I don't know what they'll cost in January 1st.
I got you. Just, I understand. But you still want the
I
Tahoe.
would like to stay with the Tahoes.
I got you.
The maintenance on them
Yeah.
has been cheaper. They've seemed to hold up better. But if we have to look at something else, we will.
Okay. How many?
That would probably get us roughly 8.
Okay.
Commissioner Taylor?
I'm good.
Commissioner McCann?
I don't have any questions.
Commissioner Giesel?
The $10,000 on 421 on towers, is that,
That's the line item. I really didn't know exactly what to put in there. That's the line item that the communication tower that we use basically to repair our current system.
well, I don't think it's high enough. The 10,000, the 10,000 with what you just said is the one at DPS, right?
No, that 10,000 is for everything. I mean, we use that line item to fix anything, any of the towers. I'm just kind of going off of, I mean, in 18, we spent 10.5, 17, we spent 5,000. This year to date, or, you know, we're in the probably $2,000 range by now.
Where's
What
the,
line is it?
It is it's
1470.
1470.
Anne Marie, where do we currently pay our tower leases from? It doesn't come from this line.
No, sir.
One ring?
One ring.
Sorry, Commissioner, it was while you were looking.
Oh, yeah, I mean, that's fine. I mean, that's where I was going.
Sheriff, while they're looking at that, on prisoner extradition, what was so big in 2018?
we did have a lot of transports that we ended up having to go out of state.
You're looking that up in
And
STW.
pick up prisoners that were caught all over the U.S. On our warrants that we had to actually go pick up and bring back. So
I
there
think
was
the last one we
a
paid
lot
it
of
was about
overnight
3 weeks
stays.
ago, but I'm just,
So on those overnight stays, do they stay in the jail and then we pick them up? and bring
Yes,
them
what we
back?
try to do is we'll contact the county and see if
It's
the county
currently
and jail will do a
$750.
courtesy hold for us while we take a nap. And then,
$750.
We go to,
it
we
went
get
up
us a room,
from
take us a nap, and
300
get
to
back on,
something.
go pick
Clint and I
up inmates and
negotiated
all
it
that.
on a month by month for $750. And we paid a couple of them since it went up. Or you can look up vendor One Ring Networks. Well, Lynn and Anne Marie are looking that up. I will ask you, Judge, where were we going to load in the radio cost?
The radio cost is, and I have to bring Ann into this. In my opinion, it's a 402 expenditure. It's a general expenditure. That same way as that when we loaded in Odyssey and put that expenditure, at that time it was named what, judicial software upgrade, I believe, Anne Marie? I believe that's correct. Would follow that same pattern.
All right.
Judge?
Yes.
You've been paying that out of telephone and 402?
Telephone and 402. The tower rentals. Okay?
I assume that's what it is. It looks like it's $60 a month.
No.
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 It's $750 currently. It was $365, I
Yes, sir.
believe,
Yes,
for many years. And they raised it to $1,200. Clinton and I negotiated it down to $750.
Yes, ma'am.
Yep, a month. So the telephone is probably what you brought up against One Ring Network is that, that goes to DPS. Because I always thought the tower expense was in your budget.
No, sir.
It wasn't.
No, sir.
Okay.
Would it be under another name? If I don't have one ring.
You don't own that tower?
No, ma'am.
It would
No,
be,
ma'am.
it's going to be he's referring to the LaRue Tower.
It was Trinity Valley Services, then it was Cedar Valley Communications, then it was something else before it was One Ring.
And it just recently went to One Ring.
Oh, about a year ago.
Yes, sir.
Do you remember, Josh, what it was before One Ring? I feel a lot better. Neither one of you can remember.
Would it be Huffman Communications?
No,
No.
it's not Huffman. That's a maintenance contract, or that's maintenance activity.
Did you say we just recently paid a bill on that?
Pay it every month.
Pay it every month?
Yeah.
What was the dollar amount?
I think it's $750.
Then, this invoice, April the 1st invoice, that was 700, we were invoice 710 that time.
What was
Was that one ring?
I think this was the LaRue Tower. I think this was during our negotiations, March and April. And when the changeover, when y'all got
Yeah,
involved.
it was 355. We've paid one at the new amount,
Okay.
or two, May and June.
Let's see.
Because they raised it to $1,200.
The way it's listed in here is the vendor. It says LaRue Tower -1, LP.
That's what Rebecca was saying, paid the LaRue Tower.
And that was charged out of 560,421. So, back to our original. It does go to the tower. Tower is, rent is paid out of that line. So, Commissioner, good point.
Thank you. I thought it was, but anyway. Because I always remembered seeing it was in the sheriff's bills, but
So we're looking at not only the additional increase in current tower price, but the actual increase in the added towers.
yes. So, I mean, if it is, and I think it is, but my guess is for next year, the LaRue Tower will be somewhere between $750 and $1,000. So for budgetary purposes, I would say for that tower, we put in $12,000. And then we have the negotiations that have not even started with American Tower for Jennings Mountain. And that price will probably be somewhere between $1,200 and $3,200. So if we want to put a swag on it at $2,500 a month, that would be 30,000. So I'd put 40,000 in there at minimum. That way we're safe.
The Tarrant County one, did you?
Sorry?
They allow us to put equipment on their tower, and they have to charge.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
one they don't
It's just
charge.
we've got a working relationship.
Okay.
with Tarrant County Water.
Okay.
So, I mean, with One Ring Networks that,
Know that?
Our stuff is on there now.
Oh, okay.
I mean, One Ring Networks owns the LaRue Pointer Tower,
Right.
which is on 4336 on Myrtle Springs Mountain. And we've been on that tower clear back when Trinity Valley Electric owned the tower. The other one, we haven't even started any negotiations. We've heard prices as high as $3,200, $3,400 a month. I'm sure we can negotiate that down.
Okay.
We will not be on that tower more than likely on January the 1st of 2020. So by putting 40,000 in there, I think we're extremely safe based on at what time we would have to start paying that monthly. It wouldn't be January, I'm guessing, maybe first quarter.
Okay.
1st of May or something next year, we might be in a position to start putting antennas on towers.
And you're basing this off of your previous discussions and negotiations with One Ring and all of the issues that's
I'm
come along
basing,
through that?
I'm basing what Clint and I, as far as One Ring is concerned, they wanted to go to 1,200. We balked on that and told them that we would go into a month-to-month, because we didn't know at that time if that tower was going to work with the new design. And they agreed they would not continue at 355 a month, so we met them halfway at 750. And we will stay at that point until we put in shelters and start hanging new antennas on the tower. At that point in time is when the price is going to go up.
Okay.
How high that is, I'm guessing 1,000.
Okay.
So, yes. Telenational. Thank you, Josh. That's who it was before One Ring. So, and then the American Tower issue, that's the one in the presentation, if you recall, that's Jennings Mountain. We did have discussions with Vanguard, which is the new tower on 31. It doesn't have near the coverage for the Chandler area as Jennings Mountain. That's, the new tower is just down from Commissioner McCam's, just east of his yard, in case you've seen it there. It is 150 feet lower than Jennings Mountain. There's a better radiation coverage from Jennings Mountain. It's owned by American Tower. We had brief discussions with Vanguard, and that was with people in the field. But talking to their corporate headquarters, all of a sudden, they were real proud of it, and their price went up. So I have not spoken with American Tower, but American Tower owns more towers in Henderson County than any other vendor. And they're based out of New York.
Okay.
So, and neither one of the vendors that we spoke with during the radio negotiation were in a position to negotiate hard for us, because they didn't know if they were going to win the contract. And of course, we didn't even know what height the antennas we needed to be at that time. So, but we just have to put more than any $10,000 in there to make sure we're covered for 2020.
Lynn, you want to make that change? Okay. Other questions or comments? Sheriff, anything else?
Not on 560, no, sir.
Okay, we'll go to the next one.
568 is in the jail. Just a couple of changes on it also. Certificate pay, basically because of employees that are grandfathered. I need it to go to 5,000. Then book updates. This is a year that we will have to buy new law books. So I'm asking for it to go from 500 to 1,000 for the jail. And then I've also requested inmate medical. In our contract with Southern Health Partners, every year there's a written in the contract, there's a written in increase. Sometimes they go with that increase, sometimes they don't. We've been able to hold them back a whole lot, but I have requested to put more money in there just in case.
Questions concerning jail operations? Hearing none. Sheriff, thank you, sir.
Thank you
very much. Oh, well, sorry. Sheriff's resource deputies. Can we touch on that? How are we looking? We originally budgeted the 126, but I think that was because we
We
thought
had
there were going to be 3.
Yes, now, I mean, there's going to be 2,
So we
Crossroads
need,
and La Pointe.
and you don't believe there's going to be another one coming
Markson
on?
has not reached out to us ever since we had the contract and said it was 80/20 and they saw the real figures. They said they.
Okay, so we can reduce that down, the
Oh, yes.
1.
Yes, sir, the 1.
Thoughts, questions?
I had one I overlooked before. You've got $600 for building office rental.
Yes, sir.
Do you still need that now?
That is a storage building that we have leased and rented. There's nothing in it. We never put anything in it. It is there in case there is a writ. It's for our civil department, basically, and it's for storage if a judge orders us to. We're all the time going out and collecting stuff, and we fight very hard against actually having to take anything and store it. We usually can work something out with the court, but that's there just in case we have to store something. We've got a place to store it. And it's been there for,
I know, it's been there forever.
Yes, sir.
I thought it would go away when we built the evidence building. When they order that, if and when they order that, are they saying it cannot be stored in a county facility?
no, it's just something that we would just, it's property that we would have to pick up and have a place to store.
And they would not want it stored with the other evidence?
It's not really evidence, it's just property. I never thought about, I mean, right now, there's plenty of room in the evidence room.
That's what I thought. Because, I mean, if there was something that had to be stored in some other place than the evidence building, which I can't really understand why, we always have my favorite building that isn't used for a whole lot, that you used to use.
Oh, yes, sir.
And that'll save us $600 a year.
That's totally fine. I didn't think about this. We
You
can
want to do that?
We can do that. I'm
We
good
can
with
do that. We do need to, as was pointed out to us, there's a couple of items we'll have to do.
It almost pays for a month
Yeah.
rent on the Liberty Tower.
Yes, yeah.
That's fine with me.
Did you get
Okay.
that, Lynn?
How long do you, in those cases, you've never used it, but how long could
It would be
property be held?
It would be a short time
A
period.
short time?
Yes.
Okay. Can it be commingled with other items? Because we're using that instead of offices in here to put some items.
It should be, yes, sir.
Okay, but that's not an issue then?
Yes, sir.
Well, we could always throw in a chain link fence so that it would be special storage within the evidence building that is locked down.
Right. Okay. Anything else?
No, I didn't have anything else.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sheriff.
Lynn, in that school resource, you have a note, only budget for 2 resource deputies? Okay, thank you. Okay. Running about 10 minutes ahead. At 11 o'clock, our Indigent Defense Coordinator, Ms. Marcella Padron, she is with us here. If you want to present, please, ma'am, come on ahead. What line?
She's Department Military One.
Thank you.
412.
you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you guys for your time. And I'm going to go ahead and start. So I handed just a small PowerPoint just to show what court coordinator, well, indigent defense coordinator covers. So in 2018, the court coordinator covered yearly estimated 2,290 interviews. Monthly, estimated 191 interviews. 5 courts that had to be attended to, which would be the 173rd, the 392nd, the 3rd, County Court at Law, and County Court at Law number 2. 2 to 3 interviews per week at the jail with the estimate of 6 to 15 defendants to interview each day, and an additional 5 walk-ins a week. That was in 2018. 2019, I'm covering so far this year estimated 1,085 interviews. 6 courts. This year, county court was added since the court is taking criminal cases again. 2 to 3 interviews per week at the jail with the estimate of 6 to 15 defendants to interview each day, and an additional 5 walk-ins a week. This is not including filing an office, also appointing juveniles and attorney general defendants. I would like to add that I have to meet a deadline. I have 72 hours to appoint an attorney after I receive paperwork excluding weekends and holidays. After defendants get arraigned, I also have out-of-county applications, which mean if another county is holding them on a Henderson County pending charge and they are requesting an attorney, that county coordinator will provide them with an application so that they can fill out, and then it is sent to me when I receive that application. That is when my time starts, and the same deadline applies to those applications. I have had where I have 3 courts to cover, and I'm only one person. There are 2 courts that start at 8:30, which are County Court at Law number 2 and 392nd. The other 4 courts begin at 9. I do have 30 minutes that helps me a little before I need to jump around to try my best to cover the courts that do need me. I have had times that courts will also have court at 1 or 1:30 in the afternoon that same day. When I have days like these, I still have to find time to go to the jail or use a video conference phone to interview. It takes me around 10 minutes to interview each defendant. There's been many times that I will be on the video conference interviews or at the jail, depending on which one I find quicker to get through, for about an hour and a half or 2. If approved, a part-time person. This person would be stationed at the jail if office is available there. Would work 3 days a week. Take care of interviews at the jail to make sure we are within our 72-hour deadline. Help with courts when I have 2 to 3 courts going on at the same time. Plus help with the filing that needs to get done. As one of my PowerPoint presentations, as you can see, the budget for 2018 and 2019. Both years were budgeted $800,000 for court-appointed attorneys. The total expense for 2018 was $711,438 with 47 cents. The revenue that was received was $84,696 with 96 cents. So far for 2019, the expense is currently at $326,574 with 25 cents. The revenue that has been received is $36,362 with 64 cents. I believe if I had a part-time person, we can probably vet better and hope that the expenses not reach as high as it looks for the future budgets. No guarantees, but I can definitely try my best. Now, I would like to speak a little bit about some savings I believe I have made for the county. Since I am bilingual and there's no need for an interpreter when I interview, unless of course another language other than Spanish or English or the defendant is deaf. But so far I haven't had to use an interpreter. I started indigent defense on May 25th, 2018. I have been saving the county money. Maybe it does not show a lot because I cannot get an accurate number for the fact that it comes out of the court's budget. But not only have I used my interpreting skills for me interviewing the defendants, but also interviewing for County Court at Law number 2, and JP1, Judge Daniel, at the jail whenever he arraigns and the interpreter Ron that they have been using besides his JP office, other JPs isn't available. As you can see, in 2017, roughly $2,760 were spent on indigent defense interpreter. Then in 2018, before I came into the position, Ms. Nowhere had used preferred interpreters, and like I had mentioned previously, roughly $1,380 was spent on indigent defense and interviews. In 2019, you do not see an expense for an interpreter. I believe it is more, but I couldn't get a more accurate number. My numbers came from what was provided from Ms. Nutware through what she had saved through her emails and what I can see from auditor's office. In conclusion, yes, maybe the revenue is not as high, but I believe that the savings for an interpreter in the future will be higher. Plus being able to vet better and hope that the number of expense will decrease. Any questions?
I would start off by saying that one of the issues that we're having is the fact that you have the 72-hour deadline.
Correct.
By law, they have 72 hours.
Correct. I have 72 to interview and appoint after.
And appoint after. Mm-hmm. On top of that, you have the duties of the courtrooms.
Correct.
That, as you said, there are, I say 5.5 instead of 6, but 5.5 courts that you are having to be at to properly be in compliance with the law.
Correct.
The number of interviews that have taken place at the jail, and I know you've been doing this for
a year now, a little bit about a year and a month.
And not having multiple years of experience, this is going to be a hard question put towards you. Are you, in the short period of time that you have been there, is the number of interviews at the jail, how are they doing? Are they increasing, flat? How, can you give us a feel for that?
Well, with me being there a year, starting last year in May, I couldn't really give you a good, accurate, or I could even say, yes, it has increased. What I've seen increase more, I feel, is the defendants I have to interview in court, especially for district courts.
In court?
Yes.
Okay.
So for 392nd, I've experienced already, I've had 10 to 15 people that do not have attorneys. 10 to 15 people to hold me in one court while there's one or two other courts going on, have to wait till I get there. Jail, yes. Usually, sometimes whenever I send the email, I bet they're like, when it's 6, they're like, good, because I know how busy they are too. They are extremely busy back there, and I try to work around that. Sometimes you just can't. I have my deadlines, and I know they are extremely busy. I totally understand. But to me, right now, interviews at the jail are busy, and I think they're steadily busy. But I think what has really increased is in court.
It's in the courtroom interviews.
Correct.
Okay. Other questions?
The interviews, how long do they take when you do a court interview, for example?
It takes about the same amount of time.
They're all about the same?
Yes.
The walk-ins, and what are those?
Walk-ins, usually they'll call me and they'll say, are you going to be there so I can take my paperwork? Usually walk-ins a little bit faster just because I can hand them the paperwork and they can wait. Like my 72 hours start when they hand me that paperwork and I sign off on it. Correct. But I can tell them, I will mail them the paperwork if they get approved or not. Correct.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Question?
Where was the interpreter line at?
I don't have an interpreter line. It
That's
comes
a-
out of the court's budget.
And a 402 expense. It's not specifically in her budget because
Correct.
of interpretation taking place across many offices and for many different reasons, not only for her specific purpose, but for other purposes as well. It's a 402 expense.
Would the part-time person you would like to have, would they be bilingual, so they would?
Yes, that's definitely
requirement?
something, yes, I would, if possible, if I could require, yes.
Okay. I have no further questions.
Commissioner?
You want to put this part-time employee at the jail to do those interviews?
Correct, especially, and to help with courts, of course, when,
72-hour
yes,
deadline?
yes.
What would you have to pay the part-time?
Well, so the way I thought it was probably half of pretty much what, I would say about 15 to 20 a year.
$15,000 to $20,000 is what you believe?
Yes, a part-time person.
Okay.
$16 an hour on 20,000.
Roughly. Any further?
Thank you.
So you haven't been able to find any records from 15, 16? Only thing you've been able to find is,
I just did the past, well,
that was on the interpreters of how much was spent in 17. But as far as the budget, you have it for 18 and 19 thus far. I was wondering if you looked at the budget for 17, 16, 17.
I did not look at that budget.
I would like for you to, or maybe you could have the audit department help you look at that.
Here's where it gets difficult. The interpreters is just all group.
I'm not talking about interpreters.
Okay.
I'm talking about what we budgeted. Actually, the only thing I'm interested in is 16, 17, 18, the actuals. And I guess we already have that right here in this, in our budget, don't we? What line item is that, Lynn? Well, you're telling me what number that is. Where I'm going with this is,
I went up to 4, I wanted to look at interpreters.
well, I'm not talking about interpreters. I just,
412, the budget says on
412.
432 would be the total.
Okay, we're not on the same page. I'm talking about indigent defense costs. Because, I mean, that's what she's doing. If she, let me ramble on for a while and everybody will get in sync. You're providing a service for the indigents in Henderson County, but at the same time, the service you're providing to the county is to make sure those that say they are indigent are truly indigent.
Correct,
And you have 72 hours.
correct.
And you don't work around the clock because those are real hours. Those aren't business hours, correct?
Well, I have 72 business, yes, business hours at
You
work.
do have 72
Correct.
business hours.
Correct,
Well, that
weekends
was
do
a
not
break.
count, and holidays do not count.
Okay. So in essence, you have about a week to validate if someone's paperwork they've submitted is valid or not?
I have to interview twice a week. Well, depending when paperwork comes, I have my 72 hours start then.
Right then.
Correct.
Have you ever wished you had 80 hours because you saw some things that looked peculiar, but to hit the state's deadline, you had to go ahead and okay?
Well, I can deny the application if I see, I can request, because in our policy it states I can request proof. Now, when it comes down to I have 72 hours, what if within those 72 hours, let's say because my whole weekend for the jail, it starts Monday for me. So what if I have court Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and I can't get to the jail? What if I have court in various courts plus in the afternoon? I have to squeeze in 2 hours or more because I'm having to transfer, I'm having to make sure the defendants are still in jail and make sure that I can get that time in and make sure I'm in court. So if I have court those 3 days, I don't have a break.
That's what I understood. I'm glad you even said it more clearly this time. I don't know. I don't know if this part-time is a good idea or not. I think an additional full-time is a great idea because I think it'll save the county money. And I'm concerned in bringing a part-time on, how much credibility is that person going to have as a part-time person wanting to save the county money?
I would love a full-time, but I started with a part-time because I wasn't sure if it would even really get looked at or see my point and how it's worked.
It's concerning to me that you work under, you're one person.
Correct.
You don't have any clones or anything, do you?
I have a twin, but she works for JP1.
That was good. That was very good. Yes.
Look at your email. I just resent you that spreadsheet I did for you back in May. Because, indigent defense costs are all over.
Yeah, I know.
So I just sent that to you. It's got all the breakdown of the different budgets on indigent defense.
I remember that.
Yeah, so you should have just gotten that.
Okay. Well, I'll wait for that to come in. Okay. Do you have concerns about a part-time person doing your job?
I don't have concerns. I would love a full-time. I don't have concerns. Like I said, I wanted to start with the part-time, and this part-timer she would know everything I know. So even for classes, she would go to workshops like I would. I guess I'm not really understanding your question if I'm concerned on which.
May I, Commissioner?
Sure, absolutely.
The Commissioner's concern is that you've identified the need.
Correct.
And part-time appears, in his opinion, to be a half measure.
Okay.
Instead of truly trying to assist. And so he's making his case for adding a full-time position to this. And because of the time needs.
Correct.
And if I may continue to put words in his mouth.
You're doing great so far.
His thoughts are that it's better money spent to go ahead and bite the bullet and do a full-time and really try to address the issue so that you have a clone who is fully trained and fully capable and not working under the limitations of a part-time position.
Okay.
Commissioner? What am I forgetting?
Do you have anything?
I just want, oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
Okay. I just want the court, Anne Marie was kind enough to send me this indigent court-related civil attorneys CPS. We're talking 1 point, the actual for 2018 was 1.275 million. 1.275 million. The year before that, it was 1.129. In 15, it was 972,000. And it drops off. If you go back to 2009, it was 750,000. 2009, catch that, 750,000. Last year, almost 1.3 million. Not all of those cases are handled, and I am not talking about indigent health. This is just indigent defense. And look at the budget, and we want to say that we want to control costs. We sure aren't spending very much money to control costs. And we're talking about helping out the situation by one part-time person. Quite frankly, I don't know how you are able to do what you're doing right now and splitting yourself between going to courtrooms, going to the jail, hitting the 72-hour deadlines, and at the same time put together a PowerPoint presentation to come over here and be with us and showing that you're reducing costs. And oh, by the way, you throw in there just as icing on the cake, I'm bilingual and therefore I've cut costs for you there. Gentlemen, I don't know what the decision will be, but I'm in supporting of adding one additional person as full-time.
Thank you. That's great.
Are you the only person in your office?
Yes, I'm a one-person office.
A great presentation.
Thank you.
And I think everyone in the audience and on this court that's been with me as long as I've been here, I don't do this very often to add resources.
Are you spending money?
I think the sheriff can tell that's probably one of the very few times he's heard me say something like that.
Maricela,
Spreadsheet
please.
I can, I'm sharing out on the drive right now.
Okay. Any other questions or comments concerning our indigent defense? None? Maricela, thank you very much. You have our condolences.
Absolutely.
And our thank you for coming in today, most especially.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do we want to take about 5 minutes?
Yes, after that, I need,
10 minutes?
okay.
Unless you have that out on your drive.
Okay.
I'm an interesting
Thank you.
look at indigent defense.
Well,
Without,
in 10 years, it's doubled.
about, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Anne Marie put that together when I was giving a speech to Keith Bell, Representative Bell.
When you started saying that, I was like, you remembered I did that. Yeah, it really is good. Pretty sure. I'll have to send you that spreadsheet so you can see how costs go. Oh, okay. It's crazy. Which makes your workload.
It was on the agenda.
So I'm just, but I'll just check it on the wall. And so we'll be, sure, it's my house sister, and I was about it, she's living there. Cooper did. In the right home.
come back into session at 11:30. And next item up will be our Blue Nicholson, our brand newly minted juvenile probation chief. Blue, come on up.
How you doing, Blue?
You're good.
Good.
64. 1566.
1564.
Overshot it.
Was it not?
What, you said 1566?
4.
Line 1566, or 1564.
Is the title line.
Okay. You're going to have to give me that again because I'm not hearing it. 15.
4.
Eustace Education.
I found it. Thank you. You have to talk slower for me. Mr. Nichols, would you please begin?
You talk any slower to you, or are you talking backwards?
I'm not sure where you want me to begin. The budget that I've proposed is only a $500 increase from last year. I'm requesting additional $200, and I don't know how you want me. In the fuel, the item is 100,33000-570, and then additional $300 for tires, and that's really that's the only change from last year. However, at the rate we're going this year, we will be over budget on contract detention. We've had a lot of serious offenses, kids having to stay in detention a lot longer. So I didn't know if y'all wanted to look at changing that number. I don't know how it was done previous years. We pretty much kept it steady at 90,000 for contract detention. And some years we go over, some years we don't. But this year I'm quite certain that we will go over. I was able to get, normally the state does not give us any funding for contract detention, but I was able to get $5,000, so that will help us out this year. It probably won't be there next year.
Where'd that money come from?
It came from our state budget.
It did, just that?
5,000.
Well, it looks like he's on the burn rate, he's running pretty close to last year. We went under that budget from the actual 18 budget.
Right.
But, I mean, it looks like he's gonna run right close to that.
I'd agree with that assessment. There was a time many years ago where we used to get supplemental funding to help cover this, but they changed. It was through a grant.
It wasn't the state?
Well, it funnels through the state, and it was a grant, but they changed that from being able to use it on contract detention to our mental evaluations.
Right.
And it was about, what, 20-something thousand, somewhere in there like that?
I believe that sounds about right.
You know, that's what was used to backfill, especially in contract detention, for a number of years, but that hasn't been the case 7-8 years now, I think.
Correct.
So.
And the money, the 5,000 that I was able to get back was some state money that went to a regionalization program that we had left over. And I just requested that they give it back to us and I could apply it to detention, and they gave me the approval for that. But I still think we're probably going to be over. At the rate we're going right now, we'll be over the $95,000. And detention goes up at times.
Over the years, we've seen highs and lows.
Yes.
Are you saying that we're currently in one of those high trend times?
We are in a high trend time. Just given the seriousness of the offenses that the juveniles have committed lately, they're staying a lot longer. So we're definitely on the upswing in the cycle. Mm-hmm. Next year it could be very quiet and calm, and we not have as many serious offenders that we have. But we've already reached our target number of commitments to Texas Juvenile Justice Department. So just to give you an idea, when we have a juvenile we're recommending committing to the Texas Juvenile Justice Department, it's a situation where they stay in detention for a couple of months.
I didn't see it. Looking through back to 13, it's always been up there at that close to 90,000 range, but on what, 15 and 16, considerably lower. Is that just those kind of years?
It's
you're
just
talking
those
about,
kind of
quiet and
years.
calm?
Yes, sir, just those kind of years. Sometimes it's real quiet and calm, and other times, a lot of things going on.
The wavelength has gotten longer where it used to be shorter. It's about a year and a half used to, it seemed like, that you would have these highs and lows, and it looks like it's elongating now, or that just flat the trend is moving higher consistently from here into the future.
That could be a possibility.
Now, we're seeing it everywhere else, Sheriff. Yeah. Questions for Mr. Nicholson? Comments? None, sir? Commissioner Tooley? Cam?
So we're gonna leave it at 90?
No, I believe we should probably move it up, myself.
To 100 or 95?
Oh, I think we should take it to the trend mark, what last year was.
I was thinking 100 to 105.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd
105.
make it an even 100.
That'll work too. I mean, it's just be 5 off. We're at 60. Well, he's gonna. Now there's 46%, and they've already spent 54. He may hit 112, 115 this year, just on the burn rate. 110.
If that's what you want to do, I'm not going to debate it. Whatever you guys want to do, as long as it's 100 plus, 100 or more, I'm okay.
Okay.
I'd go 105.
You go 105.
105. Let's go
105.
That's great.
Commissioner Tooley?
Get us up over 100.
That was my suggestion.
Lynn? Sorry, Mr. Nicholson.
105 going once.
You're getting 105, right?
And hope there's another 5 sometime in the future that we can go grab.
So how's it going?
It's going great.
You liking?
It's challenging. I'm having to fill a lot of vacancies and train a lot of new people, but I'm confident that we're headed the right direction right now. So I just hired an assistant chief, and she has some experience.
Very good.
She's coming to us from Kaufman County.
Kaufman County,
Yes,
wow.
we were able to steal one from Kaufman County. So
You
yeah,
stole one from Kaufman County?
exactly. So she,
Raise the salary to it.
we did.
So we're glad to see we got something from Kaufman County.
So you're saying with some new hires and everything, and I know that 26,000 longevity will go away.
Portions of it will, yes.
Yeah.
But what you're talking about is the assistant position, you have it filled now?
Yes, sir, I do. She started Monday.
Good deal.
Any further questions or comments?
How many openings do you have right now?
2. I have one, and I'll have one at the end of July, but we went ahead and posted. He's retiring at the end of July.
Mr. Nicholson's being very easy on us. I will say that there are vehicle maintenance issues. The van is getting older, so we will need to keep an eye on that line in the future, because it shut the door the other day and the window fell out. Hinges, there's...
It's in pretty rough shape.
But the valve
How about the
stem,
bumper? Is the bumper?
No, it's not zip tied on as fire
Top's
marshal.
rusting out, but we'll make it work.
Seriously, the court did purchase a vehicle for juvenile, or is it in the last few years? How is the fleet of vehicles? I know we did, maybe in,
We only did a vehicle this year. We're waiting on grant money.
We have 2 Explorers that we purchased last year. They have 25,000 miles on them already, and then the others they're in bad shape. We have one, the sheriff was kind enough to let us start using it. It's a Tahoe. We use it locally. The county attorney's office was letting us use one of theirs that we use just locally, because they're in rough shape. And then we have Crown Victoria that has been in operation for the last 13 years, I believe. And I've had to have some maintenance done on it to get it back running. And I'm hoping to get another year out of it this next year. But I probably will be approaching next year for at least one vehicle. The van, we can make it work. It has only 85,000 miles. It just looks bad. And the window fell out, but we got that fixed.
Commissioners are well aware of getting long use out of vehicles and such, so any of y'all want to make a comment about that and how much we appreciate what he's doing with that, coming with that posture? I know I do. I appreciate it, and we do have the inventory list on those vehicles that are in there. Okay, for future reference.
How often do you use the van?
The van, we don't use it often. We use it for community service projects. So we use it heavily in the fall because we clean up the football fields after home games here at Athens, and we use the van for that. We have an Adopt a Highway program. We use the van for that when we go pick up trash. So it's just community service projects. You're looking at, on average, once a month, twice a month maybe, depending on, I mean, in the summer months when it's really hot, we don't do a lot of community service.
Is that the same van that pulls the trailer?
No, sir. We don't have a trailer.
It's a 2003 Chevrolet van.
How often do you have to borrow a vehicle from the county attorney or the sheriff?
I just gave it to his own loan permanently. We use it.
Oh, for y'all, the sheriff's vehicle you keep?
There was one that he was getting rid of, I believe, and we just asked if we could use it.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. We keep that one and the county attorney's Crown Victoria.
We approved yesterday in the East Texas Council of Government executive session to upgrade some GO buses. Maybe we can get you a good price one of those GO buses.
And one of those was parked out front today. Did you take that into work and got here?
I had them pick me up this morning. I scheduled it this morning. They took me to La Road and they brought me back here. They're sitting out there waiting to take me home. It's just a service of the East Texas Council of Governments. You need to go somewhere? You're waiting on me. If you needed to go somewhere, we can schedule you in for.
There's one that comes.
But we can look at that.
North, and
I mean, they would be high mileage, but they have been very well maintained.
I'm used to high mileage.
They don't leave it there.
I mean,
It's part of the drop.
I think it would fit your application pretty well.
I'll have to look.
I'm going to do
It
that.
may, very well may do it.
Yeah.
Any other comments pertaining to juvenile probation? Or the county portion of juvenile probation? Mr. Nicholson, thank you very much, sir. We do appreciate it. And if y'all didn't know, Blue, tell them how long, many people, you've stayed in the background and quiet all the, how long have you been with Henderson County?
I've been with the county almost 12 years. It'll be 12 years in September.
And your history as far as in juvenile probation is, how many years have you been doing that?
Almost 30. I started in Hunt County in 1989. From there, I went to Navarro County. From there, I went to work for the Texas Youth Commission for 10 years in juvenile correctional facilities. In 2007, I came here.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for what you've done for us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. That exhausts our line of witnesses, I guess. Is there anything that we want to discuss before we shut it down for the week?
Are we workshopping next week?
Next week, we're off. There's nothing planned with the July 4th holiday. On the calendar that we passed, July 8th is the day for our nonprofits to come in. I believe this morning Angie had said we only have 2 signed up to speak so far.
What time will they start?
It's going to depend on how many we get. It would be something that we won't have to set the agenda until Wednesday, being the July 4th holiday. We'll have to wait. But if we set it, we'll know Wednesday by how many we've got, of when we want to start. Now, if the court wishes to start at a specific time and address other issues while we're doing that, we can. But we're open to set it at any time that y'all would like. July 8th is a Monday. Something we don't have to decide now, but we can definitely get the information out and make that decision middle of next week.
That's at 10 o'clock on July 8th?
That's what, I mean, we can do 10 o'clock, we can do 9 o'clock. I know Monday, coming in Monday after the weekend.
That's a long weekend too. That's the
It
July
is.
4th weekend.
We can, if we don't get any more than 2, we can even kick it back till an after lunch start, if that would be.
I'd like that a lot better.
That would help me out, yes.
Okay, then we can do that.
It really messes up. I can only speak for myself. We start 10 o'clock and then it messes up the morning and then, it messes up the afternoon.
Right.
So I'd rather have from 6 o'clock until noon before I come in here. I can get a lot of things accomplished. Splitting the day up, I'd rather work this afternoon to knock these out if we weren't going to go all day. Because, I basically have blocked my whole day out for these things, and we haven't done much in the afternoon.
Well, we have reached the end of the departments that were wanting to come speak to us, which this section through here was our primary purpose, was of meeting with those and plus, educating on the revenues and such. July 8th was going to be for the nonprofits, and then we can have minor meetings after Commissioner's Court to discuss the smaller details until we get in the actual certified numbers. We've hit the hard part, what I consider the hard part for the departments and us this week.
Did you put that lady on the agenda?
No, because not this time, because we haven't really had time to fully flesh out the process. So I almost put it on the agenda. So then we will.
1:30 Monday, or next month, July 8th.
July 8th. That's what we'll shoot for. Is 1 o'clock.
Yeah, I think 1 o'clock
1
would be
o'clock.
great, to give me time to start my guys off, because it's
Okay.
going to be a long week. It's going to be.
It is a holiday weekend.
A holiday weekend.
Okay. All right.
What's that guy's name?
There's been a lot of discussion from various department heads on salary and salary-related issues. You think we should discuss those, or are we just going to wait until we get the final numbers?
I personally believe that it's on the final numbers is what all this is going to hinge upon. I do, from years past, my personal opinion is that there are arguments pro and con for these raises, but given the fact that we do not know what our certified numbers are, it's going to be hard to make any decision other than those, like we discussed here momentarily, that's an immediate need. But when you start talking about raising individual offices for different purposes, it's going to be dependent upon how much money we've got coming in.
Well, a certain amount of the issues that department heads have presented could be resolved if we implemented the salary matrix plan.
Yes.
So I didn't know if you wanted to discuss that anymore. Lynn was saying that STW seems to think that the COLA, the 300,000 included the implementation of the plan. She's going to get that validated before we meet on July the 8th, I guess. That's plenty of time, don't you think? So, I mean, it's a possibility that the 300,000 included the 169 or 175. 175.
Really?
That's what STW is saying. I don't see how, but maybe it is.
Okay. That would be a bad idea, especially on the limited number of nonprofits that we have coming so far. It would fill out that. And we could continue, also we went through general revenues. We still haven't gone through Fund 200 revenue as well.
As far as the appraisal district is concerned, I spoke with them a couple days ago, and they're doing the newly mandated phone ARB hearings. That's another wonderful state mandated process. Just waiting for them to call in. It's days that are allocated for phone hearings. So you've got the whole ARB sitting there, kind of like Maytag repair ladies and men and ladies waiting for the phone to ring. Gotta love that, don't you?
That's interesting. I did not know that was in the
the
changes of the law. But
oh yeah, it's new this year. So Bill's over there shaking his head. And of course, you know, the members of the ARB, they're not happy sitting around doing nothing, waiting for the phone to ring.
And these are volunteers. They are, you know, they're, yeah.
That's correct. So.
Okay.
But I asked him the obvious question, how it was going. The ARB was agreeing with the majority. He said it's about the same as always. He still thinks that his preliminary numbers will be within 1% or so. So if there was a way that, you know, we could take his preliminary numbers and calculate it all out, it would give us a swag to work from. We may have plenty of time when he certifies on the 25th. He says he'll probably get us a number that will be darn close around the 19th. I just think it's going to take us more time than normal once we get those final numbers to determine what we want to do.
Agreed.
Because, you know, we definitely don't want to go up on the tax rate for the general fund. We were hoping that it would be pushing 8% increase without raising the tax rate, but the preliminary numbers don't show that.
Lynn, on our spreadsheet, is the expense number on the revenues expense total, it's linked and updating?
Yes.
On the revenue tab? Mm-hmm. Okay. No, I don't. I didn't know that I saw a move on the expenses. Let me jump back over here. Oh, no. Okay. Yeah, the revenues tab does it. Okay, it is linked on the revenue side, and the expense on 2020, let me scroll down. Because the way I read it, we're already 59,000 upside down.
Yes.
Yeah,
And that's the reason for me over here bloviating.
yeah.
I am concerned. And I Commissioner Tooley, and I don't think Commissioner Thomas was with us, Judge. Well, there's only two of us here that when we were upside down to start.
Right.
Anne Marie, you know, there's a vehicle that we missed. Denise's. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Okay.
And just, I think you probably saw the update for the health insurance. Supposed to have that hopefully by the 9th of July, so I set a meeting up to do the workshop for that on the 23rd, right after 4.
July 23rd, update on what our health insurance is going to do.
Health insurance is supposed to have that. As soon as I get that, I'll get that out to you guys. Give you all an opportunity to look at that and we'll do a workshop.
What did you say about July the 9th?
I did get an update, so I'm supposed to have our new rate on around the 9th. I was told the 15th, but I did get an update on that, so hopefully I'll have that in my hands by the 9th, and if I get that, I'll definitely get it to you. And then we're going to do a workshop on the 23rd, so I've got scheduled for health insurance.
Oh, you mean with TAC coming in?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So that's the earliest I can get that. I was hoping to have that before I actually was looking at that. But the rates went out for people that are October 1.
Well, if he says July the 9th, he'll have the numbers, then we should probably do something. Throw those in to see how much worse the 59 upside down is.
Well, it shouldn't be any different because you're only funding 845.
Well, that's true.
That's true. No matter what it is, that's where we stop.
But, you know, the concern you have is how much is it going up to the employees? And if we do not do a COLA increase, that means that all the employees are going to take a pay cut for 2020. So that's why it's pretty important to, that links us right back to what we should seriously consider concerning a cost of living increase.
Right. And Lynn, a couple of saving points, the adjustments on the school resource officer and all of that, those have not been deducted from it. So our 59 is not quite as bad, but it is still, okay.
I can try to get close on that.
Please, you know, any updates that you can make in between our budget hearings like that through our discussions here. Anything else? We're not out of the woods. This is just step one. Thank you to the departments that came and played with us. We appreciate it. But as you know, the 90% of the time is spent discussing, and 10% is when we do 90% of the adjusting. So bear with us. Anything else? Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Tooley, second by Commissioner McCam. All those in favor? Passes. Have a great